Hello everyone and welcome to Camp Hope. Last week I was at Hy-Vee checking out with my groceries, watching as each item was rung up. As I watched the screen, I noticed a pause and didn't hear that familiar beep that sounds when an item is scanned. I looked over and saw the cashier putting 2 racks of ribs into the grocery bag. I glanced back at the screen and didn't see the ribs or their price listed. I looked back and saw the cashier putting a box of crackers in the bag without hearing the scanner beep. I kept my eyes on the cashier and realized that she was so focused on bagging the groceries by herself that she forgot to scan them first. In a flash, I thought, I could walk out of the store with 2 free racks of ribs. In the same instant, a voice in my head said, "But that's not who you are." I interrupted the cashier and pointed out that she had forgotten to scan the last few items. She looked up surprised and admitted she was so flustered by having to both scan the items and bag them that she simply forgot to scan them first. She was relieved I had caught the error. We're all tempted and tested in life. The question is, how will you respond to those temptations? In our Bible reading for today, Jesus was tempted by Satan, and it wasn't by 2 free racks of ribs. Remember, Jesus was Jewish and couldn't even eat pork. Instead, he was tested by much greater things. Satan tempted Jesus with a chance to ensure his personal comfort, to obtain great fame, and to have all the worldly power Jesus could ever want. Jesus responded to Satan's temptations by quoting verses from the book of Deuteronomy, the book that recounts the story of Israel in the wilderness on their way to the promised land, when God calls them to live as his special people. Jesus knew this story, so he knew his own identity. He was the Son of God. Because he understood that, he could see through Satan's game and not fall into the trap that was set for him. Jesus was able to navigate the world because he knew God's story and who he was as a part of that bigger story. The Bible works the same way for us today. It can help us navigate our world. It becomes our life coach, our mentor, and our guide to live our most joy-filled life. When I was tempted to walk out of the store with 2 free racks of ribs, I got a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach because that isn't who I am. I'm a child of God, and so I'm called to do justice, to love mercy, and walk humbly with him, and pay for whatever I'm buying. I admit, learning the story the Bible tells can be intimidating. There are 66 separate books in the Bible written 2,000 to 3,000 years ago in a place halfway around the world in a culture and language that's so different from ours. It's hard to even know where to start. We have so many questions, and sometimes we're afraid to ask because we don't want to look silly or stupid or uninformed. As a kid, I asked a lot of questions. I would continue to push if the answers seemed squishy or illogical, and finally, my pastor got fed up with me. He told me I couldn't understand the answers to the questions I persisted in asking unless I went to seminary. Problem was, in the church I grew up in, women weren't allowed to become pastors, so I couldn't go to seminary. It was the perfect way to shut me down. But knowing the story in the Bible isn't just for pastors or super religious people, it's for all of us. If you feel overwhelmed by the Bible, I suggest you start small. I recommend the online video series from the Bible Project. They make free animated videos that explore the books and themes of the Bible, which gives you a starting place to understand what you're reading. For instance, the video entitled The Biblical Story summarizes the whole story of the Bible in less than 6 minutes. Next, take the After Alpha class offered here at Hope, where we spend 6 hours taking a 30,000-foot view, exploring the story from the story of creation in the book of Genesis to the promise of Jesus' return in the book of Revelation. Knowing the Bible story can help you understand more and more who God is and who you are, and it makes navigating this crazy thing called life so much easier. And that's way better than 2 racks of ribs.